Hey, what's going on everybody? Jake Enders here with Blues Rock Guitar Lessons. Really fun video I wanted to do today featuring this guitar that belongs to my father. This is Clarence Gatemouth Brown's original 1951 Fender Esquire. And this guitar was personally given to Gate in early 50s by Leo Fender himself as an endorsement guitar. Gatemouth played this guitar throughout the 50s on his early, really well-known recordings for Peacock Records, most notably Okie Dokie Stomp, which was his signature instrumental song at the time. It was a hit in 1954. So this is the guitar he recorded it on, and he played it throughout the 50s until the later 50s. He decided he wanted to get a two-pickup Telecaster instead. So apparently he was going to trade it back into H&H Music Store in Houston, Texas, and they were going to send it back to Fender, and he was taking a Telecaster instead. Well, instead the guitar ended up sitting on a back shelf at H&H for at least the next 10 years until my father acquired the guitar then, and he's had it ever since. You can see it's got that beautiful butterscotch finish. The original black guard here, just a beautiful, beautiful looking guitar. The original ashtray, man, those are so cool. Single pickup right there, single coil pickup. And you can see here on the back, Gate signed it to me when I was a kid. I was doing a show with him. To Guitar Jake from Clarence Gatemouth Brown, 3/4 of 91. Yeah, you can see that original decal there, Fender Esquire. So beautiful guitar, it sounds beautiful, and we're gonna take it for another spin here in a little bit. But I wanted to tell you the detailed history of this guitar. So I'm gonna read you an article from Vintage Guitar Magazine that they did on this guitar. And also, I wanna show you some close-ups on the blend circuitry, a really unique circuitry that this guitar has. So let's get into it. Okay, so I wanted to show you quickly about this circuitry, which is pretty unique on an Esquire. They're not just a Telecaster with one less pickup. They're actually a totally different animal. And see, position 1 here corresponds to the solo bridge pickup position on a Tele. On the Esquire, however, the pickup is routed through the volume control only, with the tone control bypassed for a hotter and louder lead sound with even more high end than a Tele. Position 2 right here, in the middle setting, this Esquire pickup is routed through the volume and tone control, identical to position number 1 on a standard Telecaster. It sounds a bit warmer compared to the Esquire's number 1 back position. Now finally, position 3, no man's land. Never see anybody use this. But here the tone control is again bypassed, and the Esquire's pickup is routed through the volume control and a fixed treble roll-off capacitor resistor network for a very dark tone that also has a slightly decreased output. Now, Leo Fender intended this as a bass preset that would allow 50s guitar players to enter into bass territory by simply flipping the three-way switch. So pretty interesting, and it makes the Esquire a very unique sounding guitar. So a few years back, Vintage Guitar Magazine did a full article about this guitar, and a really cool interview with my father. And I really just wanted to read out some of the article so you can get the full history of the guitar from my father's experience. And a lot of the history about Gatemouth's early career in Houston as well. So the article starts out by saying, as a high school student and emerging guitarist in Houston in the early 60s, John Andrews couldn't get a club gig without knowing Okie Dokie Stomp. The famed track by Clarence Gatemouth Brown was the most requested instrumental on the Gulf Coast club circuit at the time. More even than Bill Doggett's Honky Tonk. Another classic. Look up my video teaching how to play that. Gatemouth Brown was a local who started playing guitar professionally in the mid-40s, inspired by T-Bone Walker, to move from behind his drum kit to center stage with his D'Armond equipped Gibson L5. A strange twist of fate saw Brown make a name for himself by jumping on stage after Walker, a blues superstar at the time, fell ill midway through a set at the Bronze Peacock in 1947. Sensing that fellow Houstonians were growing restless with the weight, Brown shouldered Walker's guitar and launched into a jam that later became Gatemouth Boogie. Walker eventually returned, but seeing the young man holding his own with the crowd, ceded time in the spotlight. The performance spurred club owner Don Roby to help Brown get signed to Aladdin Records, then soon after create a label, Peacock Records, to showcase Brown's songs and playing on guitar, fiddle, and harmonica. They scored a chart hit in '49 with "Mary is Fine" and "My Time is Expensive." Brown never took to be called a blues artist. His work was a mix of traditional blues, country, jazz, bayo, R&B, calypso, polkas, and other forms. His legacy as an elite post-war guitarist and his impact on generations of guitar players came thanks to instrumentals like Boogie Uproar, Gate Walks to Board, and Okie Dokie Stomp, which charted in '54 and arguably provides the best demonstration of his style at the time. In 1966, Brown led the band on The Beat, a syndicated TV show filmed in Dallas but hosted by famed WLAC Nashville disc jockey Hoss Allen. You can look up those videos on YouTube. Look up The Beat, Clarence Gatemouth Brown. He then moved to Nashville, where he recorded several country singles and became a fixture on Hee Haw, playing alongside Roy Clark and various country artists. In the 70s, he became popular in Europe. He recorded with 2 French labels, toured 12 times, and became a U.S. Department of State music ambassador. In 1979, he played a 6-week, 44-date tour of the USSR. Very cool. Now, back home in the 1980s, he recorded with Rounder and Alligator and won a Grammy in '83 for All Right Again. Played nearly 300 shows each year. Along the way, he won 8 W.C. Handy Awards. In 1999, he was inducted into the Blues Hall of Fame, and Brown was 81 years old when he passed away in 2005. Now, much of John Toad Andrews' musical education in the early 60s derived from frequenting Battle of the Guitars jams at Club Ebony in Houston's 3rd Ward. There, he would watch guys like Brown and Albert Collins cut heads. Now, my dad says those two were especially interesting because they picked with their thumb and fingers, played in open tunings, and used a clamp as a capo. That's what they call the capo. And both of them played Fenders, Andrews said. Blues lore says it was Gatemouth who turned Collins away from the Epiphone he was using, fronting the rhythm rockers, to the single pickup solid body that would help him earn the nickname Master of the Telecaster. So very cool. This guitar is indirectly responsible for turning Albert Collins into the master of the Telecaster. Now we'll do an Albert Collins video pretty soon as well. Now in the early 70s, Mother Earth, the band my dad was playing guitar in, was playing at Houston's Liberty Hall, great venue there. And he paid a visit to H&H Music to see his friends Texas Tom and Red Novak. When Red saw me, he said, "I've got something for you," and he disappeared to the back. He returned with a beat-up old Esquire and handed it to me, saying, "This is the guitar that Gatemouth played on Okie Dokie Stomp." Though Andrews doesn't recall whether Novak gave the guitar to him or asked him the going rate of about $120. He had an amazing guitar conversation piece that he played every so often over the following 20 years before the occasion arose for it to resurface, thanks to Andrews' son, Jake, who in 1991 was a rising prodigy on the Austin music scene. Ah, the glory days. That March, Jake was invited to do a guest spot on the Texas Connection with Gatemouth, he said of the TV program that was produced by the folks at Austin City Limits. Jake took his Duosonic and I took the Esquire along to show Gate. It didn't even have strings, but while Jake was holding the Esquire, Gatemouth, who could be pretty surly, came up and asked, "Boy, is that the guitar you gonna be playing?" Jake said, "No, but my dad said it is the one you played on Okie Dokie Stomp." Gatemouth said, "Where's your dad?" And Jake motioned to me. Then he asked, "Where'd you get that?" And I told him about H&H Music and how Red Novak told me that he'd played it on the original recording. He asked if it had a date, so I removed the neck, and sure enough, there was the writing. TG, Tadeo Gomez at Fender, 2/1 of 51. Gate said, "If Red said that was my guitar, then it's the one Leo Fender gave me in late 51, and I recorded Okie Dokie Stomp on it." I pointed out that photos of the era showed him holding a Blackguard Telecaster, but he was emphatic, saying, "I recorded Okie Dokie Stomp on a one pickup Esquire." After the taping, Brown signed and dated the back of the headstock. Now, fast forward years later, the guitar spent nearly a decade on loan to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Museum, where it was part of a display with Muddy Waters' Telecaster and John Lee Hooker's gold-top Les Paul, right there in the case. Later on, Jimmie Vaughan called and borrowed the guitar to use in the Stevie Ray traveling exhibit a few years back. It was such an honor because the guitar was right there with Gatemouth Brown's hollow body and Stevie Ray's #1 Strat. So, such a cool moment to have that displayed. Now let's open this guitar up and see what it can really do. So check out a clip here where Jimmie Vaughan's playing the guitar, and just listen to that tone he gets on it, man. I mean, Jimmy's the best, but this tone he got that night through this guitar, man, it just cuts heads.
Sad affair. That dirty word got me crossed. Lord, what a sad affair. That's why you got me crying. It's more than a heart.
And also, I'm going to show you a little clip. Here I am playing with Gatemouth from that Austin City Limits taping in 1991. And what an honor. I played with Gate many times through the years. I last saw him probably not long before he passed away. Always very kind to me, although, like the article said, he could be pretty surly. And in fact, he was a sheriff, I believe, for a while in the town in Louisiana where he lived.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have a treat for you. A real young one. A real young one. We're going to bring him up here, and he's going to do one of my tunes, Louisiana Zydeco. We're going to get real coonasty for you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome to the stand Little Guitar Jake. If you're going to have some fun, you got to come to Louisiana if you want to do the Zydeco. Yeah!
And finally, guys, you saw me play Okie Dokie Stomp in the beginning of the video. Look that one up if you don't know the original. What a cool big band sound of the era. You saw me playing it note for note, and I've been doing it that way since I was a kid. But of course, Gatemouth played with a clamp, or a capo. So let's see what that looks like. Okay, my friends, thank you so much for watching. I hope you really enjoyed getting to hear this guitar and get a little blues music history. A lot of history there with my dad and the Houston music scene. There's actually going to be a great documentary coming out on the Houston blues and R&B music scene that we were part of. And I'll let you guys know when that is coming out. Until then, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the bell icon to get a notification every time I put out one of these videos. Leave me some comments. Please like the video, and I will see you guys next time.